talking about decentralized internet, and the company actually made like a real actual use for it, where pretty much each phone was kind of like its own server, so that everyone could surf the internet through each other's phones or mobile devices. Yeah. But the issue is, to make a long story short, towards the end, that algorithm found a way to just decide everything that had a passcode that was locked needs to be unlocked. And we're not just talking about your laptop on your phone. We're talking like the nuclear launch codes for every single computer network.
Anything with the password.
Anything with password is going to get hacked. So therefore, if they didn't stop the thing in time, nukes were going to go off all across the world, or at least in the USA, which is kind of crazy to think about. But I feel like, since this whole craze with cryptocurrency kind of happened in the pandemic, people started to look more into this decentralized internet, trying to take down or separate Google or
any of the big players, really.
Yeah.
Which really is going to start our conversation about video productions and following trends on the internet. All the algorithms that are kind of involved behind that, because these are systems that we have programmed to kind of learn and predict our behavior and stuff. I'm just going to say artificial intelligence. That's what they are. We're literally programming brains that can do these really complicated tasks. And I'm not anybody I don't want to be the people scared of technology. But I do think there is a real conversation to be had about the dangers that we just kind of blindly give trust to. And still on the flip side of that, technology is tools. Technology is everything. I hate to pick on the Amish, but I always wonder, it's like, they reject technology and stuff like that, but everything is technology. Your shoes, your house, all of that is at some point technology. So either, I don't want to sound like the guy that says cars, that's crazy, or because this could be a really good thing, but I don't want to just only talk about the bad.
Right. With our generation, we were born 1997.
98.
98. Tony.
97.
So we were born, at least from my perspective, we from what I remember, from 1 to whenever we started to remember things, we've had, whether it be the internet and things along those lines. Going into elementary school, they're teaching us how to utilize computers, and our parents didn't have that, and their parents definitely didn't have stuff like that. So seeing that we've gone from putting on these big bulky plastic headphones that weren't sleek at all, and typing on a heavy duty keyboard, to even easily able to
phones that were just phones, and they had minutes restrictions and everything.
Exactly. This stuff is crazy how fast it's gone. And I think there's a lot of good in regards to the fact that I can link up with somebody or just communicate with somebody from a different part of the world entirely. And before, you were just able to send mail and stuff like that. So that's the good part about it. The bad part could be any number of things, people trying to take over technology, propaganda, things like that. So.
And technology really is us, we're the ones making it, which is why I think we also have a responsibility to encourage, tech companies to be ethical when they are designing these systems. But, at the end of the day, everybody has, every company has their own motive of what they're trying to get done. And, just going back to Silicon Valley, I just kind of was thinking, what are even tech companies even? Think about a company like Amazon, they're a tech company, but they also are really just a logistics company if you really boil it down. And we see them as like this giant superstore, but Amazon isn't really hosting the store. They're really just the people figuring out how we can get it from here to there.
Exactly.
And I don't know if you've seen the WeWork documentary, but a $1 billion startup company basically is just any other real estate company.
I have yet to watch that yet, but
I hadn't seen it.
But even just the commercial alone about this guy just saying we can, or we work, or we do this, and they just It's almost like starting a technology cult, where it's like, you ask them, what do you do? We're like, oh yeah, we're just a logistics company.
No, that because everybody has that like tech pitch of like, what if I told you this app can change the world? Ever since Steve Jobs.
Yeah. And I don't know if companies were not even companies, when people had that kind of idea, I'm not sure. It makes me wonder, looking through history, did people have this same kind of passion in regards to, I'm going to change the world with this thing? I mean, somebody had to have had it.
Yeah.
But the way they come across,
I think it's in the tech marketing. I think the way that people market themselves in tech is, again, you don't want to seem like you're on the wrong side of history, so they always come about and ever since Steve Jobs came along, everybody.
Steve Jobs was probably one of the first
cult leaders. I mean, but that's how everybody treats these. That's how people treat these companies and stuff. If somebody comes along and they're using the verbiage of Jesus, I'm here to change the world forever, and I'm going to take everybody who's on this side with me.
Yeah.
If you were to just replace that with any cult leader, it would sound the same.
Right.
This is how every tech company pitches their app, and it's a little scary.
It's an app like people simply can't live without it. It's like life was not good before this app was invented.
Right. And that's what's crazy. That's almost a way to have them think, to get you to think that you need something that you never needed in the first place. Because we've made it from farming, hunting, and gathering. So clearly we made it this far without the app.
Without just a simple app
idea. So the fact that I think, okay, hold on. I don't want to segue to farming or nothing, anything like that. But anyway, with technology that good and bad, and having them, as you mentioned, with the different faces of these big companies are, it's good. It's a lot of good, and there's just a lot of danger that comes along with it too.
Yeah. If you're hearing this is about to get lit, welcome to the Victory Clique podcast. As in, click on that subscribe button, click on that like, go on and click that keyboard and type us some comments. We need your engagement, please.
Yeah. I don't care if it's positive or negative, just say something.
We want to hear
something.
Yeah, we would have a great discussion if it's negative too, by the way.
I like constructive criticism. That's how you evolve. People don't really like to, feel judged for stuff, but at the same time, sometimes you gotta adjust the formula.
But also, as content creators, we're starting to understand how the internet works.
Yeah.
And, because constructive criticism is one thing, but we know how the YouTube comments can be. Someone is going to say, and that's why your mother's gone. Like, oh, okay, you don't even know my mom. But all right. Right. If people just say anything they want to do, that's just the sacrifice we make.
Yeah.
For creating this stuff.
Yeah. I want to introduce our friend, good old Grant.
Hello.
He is helping us here. We're actually in Crystal City right now.
Yeah.
We were at BlurredCon 2021, and I'll let you guys see more of that. But he was so kind enough to host for us our anime music trivia panel. So we want to give him a warm introduction. We'll put a round of applause.
Thank you. Wow.
And he's here to talk to us today. So what are we talking about this time? What were you saying about understanding the internet and trends and stuff?
Well, just us as being content creators now, trying to understand exactly, okay, we've seen the YouTubers getting notoriety over the pandemic because they were able to make money through the pandemic.
Right.
And making YouTube money is almost as expensive as making money off of just having fun.
Right.
And every single person I know would love to make money off of just having fun.
Yeah, that is the millennial dream.
And just to record, it's just simply to record your own fun or record you talking to your friends about whatever stuff we're talking about.
There's no better way I would like to make a living. And I feel like that's always been my personal philosophy. And when I first started my company, I literally, that was on my masthead, my mission statement of, I would rather make my money entertaining people, having a great time.
That's good.
There's a lot of dirty ways you can make money.
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely.
This one I wanted to be through fun.
Yeah. I think that's what people need to see too. They get online, had a long day, stuff like that, and having to stumble upon this right here, this conversation, and you never know, it might affect somebody in a really good way.
And the thing is that everybody wants to do this now.
Yeah, it's a seller's market.
Including us. Including us. We are trying to make money off of this.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more work that goes into it more than people realize.
Yeah.
They always say, "Oh, I'm gonna start a podcast or YouTube channel." Okay. What's your target audience?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, you know,
It's
how
a-
you,
yeah.
like, what's your budget, you know?
What's your brand?
Right.
You know?
And also, is your stuff actually good?
That's
Yeah.
true. That's true.
We got mics, by the way, this time.
We're stepping into every
Yeah,
video.
every video gets a little bit better.
Yeah.
And yeah, and at the end of the day, you also want to provide value to people, whether it's just coming home, like you said, at the end of the day, having a good time, or, you know,
Yeah.
like, again, which is why we want to accept constructive criticism, because, you know, the feedback is necessary too. People, you know, the reason why I feel like we're even here now is because, you know, of just that whole mentality, all you need is a cell phone and whatever, you can just get it started. And I do think that is very true.
Yeah.
But you know, you still got to think about every aspect of video production and stuff. How you're going to get it out there, how are you going to, you know, how are you going to produce, like you said, what's your budget and stuff. I have clients and stuff that come to me and it's like, you know, I had this idea for this show. And it's like, you know, okay, well, you just start asking critical questions. And it's like, you know, people like the idea, but they don't really necessarily see it through. But I do think a lot of the fun is also just in the process.
That's true.
You know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was saying that I think what this is, what's really awesome is seeing from each podcast that has come along the way, each one has grown in a way that is really cool to see as an audience member. You get to build relationships with you guys during the podcast, get to understand the different viewpoints, and on top of that, you're seeing the growth as well over this span of time. And then you can scroll back down and see the very first one all the way to years later, and it's a whole fitted room, things like that, sound quality. So that's awesome. That's awesome.
And you know, we were just talking about, you know, the whole, like, the evangelist pitching of you know, of tech companies and stuff. But if you really kind of think about it, you know, a lot of content creators kind of have to do the same thing. They have to really insert, like, you know, where is your value? You're gonna try to get a following of people that, you know, is gonna say, I'm gonna spend my hard-earned dollar on your stuff, on your content, or, you know, my limited amount of years or, you know, days of my life following you. You got to make it worthwhile. And just to take the conversation back to technology, you know,
The algorithm.
that's really where the artistry kind of begins, because not only do you have to make the content, but you got to translate that into the means of production now, which is internet, social media.
There is, I don't know, I have no idea if any of our audience members watched the social dilemma yet, but they definitely do talk about what the algorithm is.
Yeah.
And how, you know, that word really blew up throughout the pandemic too, because everyone says, oh, I'm trying to trick the algorithm. And I'm like,
or I'm trying to appease to the algorithm.
I'm like, what are you talking about?
The Social Dilemma is a documentary on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
In the documentary, they showcase the differences between, not even just differences, they just give you a broad perspective of social media and the effects it can have on people
human
and
beings.
the process of making it. So it's definitely good one to check out.
And basically, like, they pretty much talk about how a lot of these Silicon Valley folk, and while we do use these apps, we are going to call them out too, because we have to. You know, for Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. You know, they really are just a marketing company now. You know, it's no longer about just simply trying to connect people. Like, Snapchat's whole mission statement is to take photos and send it to your peers.
Yeah.
Well, think about the sheer amount of ads they also sell as well.
Yeah.
And especially on Facebook, and we know about the Facebook algorithm because of the.
And again, that's where we get into the whole WeWork thing. What happened with WeWork is, I mean, tech evaluations and stuff are tens of millions, hundreds of millions, even billions of dollars. So you got to really kind of sell the Kool-Aid in a way if you want to get somebody to say, here's $10 billion, like they did with the guy, I forgot his name, Adam something, who did, well, basically what happened is there's this big investment, like, fund in, I want to say it's China, right?
I'm gonna look it up. It's called
SoftBank. SoftBank had a $10 billion like cash pile, and they gave WeWork, I want to say what did I say? $10 billion?
$10 billion.
No, they have a $100 billion cash pile, and they gave WeWork $10 billion. But the fact of the matter is that WeWork was mostly just like this group of people who just went out and partied and did all this stuff. They threw these huge office parties, these like rented out private islands for retreats and all their employees and stuff. But their tech product actually didn't deliver. They were promising like a life-changing, world-changing, I guess, processing system, but all they really had was a brand.
I'm reading it right now, and the New York Times literally called the company's failed effort to go public, an implosion unlike any other in the history of startups.
Man.
It was that bad. It was almost like a Ponzi scheme.
That's wild. That is really wild, because there's all these different companies out there, and as we were mentioning too, the not just figureheads, right? It's the people who are at the heads of the company, the faces of, like for Microsoft, Bill Gates, or for Apple, Steve Jobs, the teams that are involved there, and the ideas that they bring to the front, and they showcase them as this is really going to change the world. This is what the human race needs to go forward, and it's interesting because we're all people. We're all just trying to figure out a way to help better the world, and that's just someone else's perspective on what they want to better the world with.
Yeah.
But what happens is, I think when the really large conglomerates and a lot of billions of dollars get involved, things can, and there's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people involved in the process.
Yeah.
It can get a little dangerous sometimes.
You mean like in terms of? I'm not gonna mention Elon Musk again. I've already talked about him.
That money, money changes things.
The fact that I'm gonna talk about Tesla real quick, just as a tech company, right?
You're gonna make him you're gonna be a billionaire, your personal enemy.
I watch what you say real carefully.
Yeah,
no. What I'm trying to say is that, tell you what, do you know who the CEO of Microsoft is?
See, I don't know. I only know those big names.
But you know the CEO of Tesla.
That's Elon Musk. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't know the CEO, the name of my bank is, but I know who Elon Musk is.
The CEO is essentially a celebrity, and again, the whole thing with the Bitcoin and Dogecoin, him making slight comments, literally drove the prices of those up 10%. I can't tell you exact numbers because of plenty of occasions. But even when Elon Musk even said the two negative things about a Bitcoin a few months ago, the prices went down like $20,000. I'm saying he wasn't the only factor, but he definitely did help drive it.
Yeah.
Just off of his comments on Twitter. Just look what happened with Dogecoin. When you have that much power and you can literally just change the landscape of a financial institution or just even the world.
Affect people's buying habits, really.
Yeah.
Because, and that's the other side of the technology is just going to respond to whatever the people are doing.
Right.
He understands that, and the reason why he's going viral and stuff isn't because he's going on these marketing campaigns. And you've always said, that he says marketing departments and stuff like that are just kind of not necessary.
Yeah, in fact,
no PR
Tesla has
and
no
stuff
PR
like that.
company at all.
Wow.
So any information that you
I've
get
never
out
seen a
Tesla,
commercial other than
no commercials, no billboards, like you said, nothing on the internet. It's also just name. Everyone, even non-car people that think about electric car, they think of a Tesla.
They think that's true. That's true. I remember the other company, Fisker or something like that, but it really is just Tesla now with what you see, and even in regards to seeing how fast everything has changed so drastically in regards to just technology in general, on the internet in general. And it's very difficult to even predict at this point where things are going to end up in the next 30 years or things like that.
Yeah.
Our cell phones, 3 years ago or so, maybe more, we were talking about that earlier, they used to be able to take off the back and just trade the battery out.
Yeah.
And now everything's locked in. You got to go back to the manufacturer in order to fix your stuff. So
And that goes into the whole aspect of right to repair, which is kind of like, so pretty much a lot of either consumers or mechanics are fighting with these conglomerates to have the right to either have parts to repair, like for example, like you said with the phone, we can't change out the battery on our iPhones. That also allows Apple to therefore sell us, more phones, and therefore make more money versus us keeping the iPhone for like 10 years and just replacing parts.
Yeah, it's really like a battle of beliefs on this kind of idea of ownership that Apple believes, or not even just Apple. I don't even want to.
It's pretty much almost everybody.
Almost
everybody now.
But the same thing kind of, and I think this is going to really pivot into the conversation of social media. But we can just use Apple for example. But like you said, it's with cars and everything. They believe they created the product, therefore they own the product. The licenses and stuff like that. So imagine kind of like a sneaker company. If they put out a design, kind of like what happened with 𝐕𝖎𝖈𝐙𝐿 when he had the like demon Nike shoe.
Yeah.
And they say, you know, we're not associated with this product. You know, we don't want you to make our brand look bad because of something you did with that particularly customized, you know, thing or whatever. And I mean, imagine if Apple said, yeah, you can swap out the phone battery, but then their phone started blowing up or whatever.
That's a liability thing.
Yeah,
but that, you know, gets kind of like, just like use kind of the car example real quick. You know, if I were to take my car to a mechanic and it blows up, I'm not gonna automatically sue whatever company I have if I know.
Americans are kind of sue happy. They're trigger happy, and they're
and that's the thing. It's like
that money.
This is some positive intent, but even still, like if you have a product and you know that it is safe for me to be able to replace certain parts, I'm not gonna say no one in their right mind is going to sue Apple or sue every company, you know, that you know, whoever is at fault. But even still, you know, I doubt it'll go that far. But I can definitely see that happening. And companies they don't want to take that risk. They just don't, or to take that kind of responsibility. Like,
so I have a question for y'all.
Okay.
all right.
In the same way that they believe, again, that they like own the product and whatnot, right? When a person puts something out on social media and it goes viral, does it still belong to that person, or does it now belong to the internet?
Does it not belong to the internet? Well,
Because
I can see both arguments, but
Okay.
go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead, Greg.
I was saying that that's a really interesting point in regards to ownership of when you put something that you've created onto a platform online.
Yeah.
I have never read through any of the terms and conditions in regards to what it means to utilize those platforms. And it's the truth. They're so long. I'm getting better at it now to really understand what, you know, legally, what your actions represent on the platforms.
Yeah.
So in regards to ownership, I think for me, I'd have to go check to see if when you post to a platform, do they have all the ownership over those things?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
to use your image and your likeness or things like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what about like the public though? Like, because again, like once you go viral, you know.
So like on TikTok, how a lot of the black users or the black content creators are boycotting because.
Well, I wasn't even going to get to that yet. I was just saying in general, right? So you were talking about like likeness and stuff, right? If you say have a song that goes viral, or even like a clip, like somebody like Sweet Brown who did the Ain't Nobody Got Time for That.
Oh yeah, that's
You know, a lot of people say getting memed ruins your life, but in the same way that, you know, if you take your phone to a, you know, custom repair shop and they swap out the RAM card and the battery, if somebody takes your picture and stuff off the internet and makes a meme out of you, chops up your voice and, you know, makes music out of you,
who gets right? Okay,
yeah, who owns that?
Right.
And the fact of the matter is that we can't really. But when something goes viral, there's no way you can kind of follow it because you would have to sue everybody left and right.
And that's where, like, we're talking about, like, the internet is the home of, in a sense, the world. And what sucks is, I know where you're like going at because it's not because you're not just specifically talking about you going viral on a platform. It's just the internet.
The social knockback of once you are on an open market and people can say, oh, I made this out of you and I did this out of you. I mean, think about characters that go viral, like Loki, which I still haven't seen yet.
I think it ended.
Oh, I'm gonna have to go back and watch it then.
Yeah, I'm trying to stay off the so I don't see any spoilers.
But a character like Loki gets redrawn in, you know, people's fan art. They have mashup videos, and you know, they will, you know, they'll just make any kind of memes. They make fan stories and stuff like that. And they do the same thing with celebrities like Beyonce. You know, people talk about every time Beyonce gets mentioned or Nicki Minaj, they will trend on Twitter off of a single person just mentioning it, and then their whole fan base is coming, and it just makes them go viral.
Right. Yeah. Once again,
And you know, they kind of have control over that happening. But if you are just somebody who accidentally goes viral,
I don't know exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you find the original creator of some things like that?
Well,
because you also have, in instances, you have a creator they'll put something out there, and then you'll have someone who will, I've seen it, they'll screen record their phone's recording of them watching the YouTube video, post it on their own thing, and then that video will go viral, but they'll erase the name of the person who originally created it.
Yeah.
So if you don't have any sort of say-so or power, you know, you won't be able to say, hey, that is mine.
Yeah. This is where getting a patent
legally.
This is
that's where you get legal.
The patent office doesn't for whatever reason, but that's a whole different argument. But
Well,
also,
but the thing is,
the rise of NFTs too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was going to say, in terms of the whole patent thing, trademarks and stuff like that, that goes terribly both ways because, you know, but companies will try to extend their trademarks and stuff on things until the end of time, in perpetuity throughout the universe, and that's like in the terms of service. If you post up here in perpetuity throughout the universe forever, all until the end of time,
we can sue the brakes off that. All right, okay. So funny.
That's what they say. That's what they say there.
But what were you about to say about crypto?
No, I was saying, well, like we've seen a rise in NFTs where people will, well, like to be honest, I haven't looked too much into like NFTs all that much, but I do know they use blockchain technology.
Yeah.
And basically, it kind of allows people to create a digital art, but not if it's a voice recording or saying you have. It's kind of like your own way of getting your own patent or your own trademark without going through, you know, the patent office.
Yeah. And that's again how, even though a lot of people have taken advantage of that by just putting anything out, you know, they'll just say, here's a picture of the album, buy this as an NFT. I mean, you can get kind of smart with it. Like if you can, say, release songs and stuff as NFTs, that's like a way to personally interact with your fans that you couldn't do without that kind of technology.
For a quick pause, what is an NFT? Is that an acronym?
Non-fungible token.
Non-fungible token. And you can sell, for example, an example of an NFT. What would that be?
So The Weeknd did a really good example of, he chopped up, like, I think his whole rollout for his album was great, you know. His album literally started his rollout in 2019, and it was like every month of the pandemic he was giving us something different. But for example, if I'm not mistaken, he released like a cover and a single for one of his songs as an NFT. And basically, without getting into the nitty gritty of the technology, it kind of will create like a unique kind of undecryptable file, if that makes sense, that you can then put you can put a piece of art on. So the whole art market runs on scarcity, with, you know, one piece being more valuable than the other. So it was kind of a way for musicians to get into the, I guess, art space by selling these tokens as things that can be auctioned off, and, you know, basically have their own little mini market shares of it. And they can really be, I'm not going to say anything. I've made a couple of NFTs myself of just stuff that I put together.
You want to advertise them?
I'll put it right here. I mean, I wasn't going to, but they can basically be anything. They can be a song, a picture, a file, or something, just something unique. And the thing is, the people with these big audiences, people will buy their socks and underwear, so they can put anything out, and like I said, they'll respond to it. You know, if Beyonce was like, here's my signature, she'd make $20,000 a copy. You wanted to talk about some of the following trends and stuff. I have had a lot of people, you know, come up and ask about, you know, what are the processes of, you know, creating content, trying to follow trends, trying to ride, you know, waves and stuff, in order to get to that point, you know, because a lot of these markets and stuff, I mean, traditionally speaking, we would call something like that like a bubble, where people just kind of ride the popularity of a thing, you know, with money. And the technology has kind of created like miniature effects of that, but we just call it going viral or trending or whatever, you know, when it happens online. But what were you...
So yeah, we can definitely talk about some of those things in regards to how I was thinking of trends as some of them are good, but the majority, and good as in, a good trend would say, for example, a trend where
simple
people walk,
dance.
a simple dance.
I was just
Or-
like a simple dance.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Or when people walk, let's say a trend, for example, is walking an old lady across the street, and that becomes trending, and it's like, that's good for people to help other people. But a lot of the times, the trends are just crazy. Most of the time, from at least some of the things I've seen. Years ago, there was a trend, and I think it was in New York City, and I'm not 100% sure if the news companies or the articles that were putting this information out was 100% accurate, but it was called the knockout game.
Yeah, I remember that.
What is
a
trend?
You never heard of that? The knockout game? Where? Go ahead.
So the knockout game, I don't think it goes on anymore, but it was a trend at the time, and it would be young, usually just young men, and they go around New York City, and they just come up behind somebody and punch them as hard as they could.
Just strangers,
knock
just
them
random
out.
people, beating
And
the crap out of people.
That was it. And
Oh
it'd
my
be a
God.
group of them, or they go like send one guy, and it'd just be somebody with headphones in walking down the street, and there'd be security cam footage, or somebody would film it from across the street, knock them out, and then just run.
Beat
and
the
then
crap
run.
That's not a trend. That's just harassing people.
It's
You
crazy.
see
It
what I'm
really
saying?
is, but it was a thing. If they
Just
see
a
the
thing that
notoriety
people-
that you would get, and it's like, oh, if that's all I got to do to go trending, then let me go do that. And that's
But the
danger.
issue with that is that there's a lot of issues with that. But the biggest problem with the social media is that, again, I think a lot of people see this stuff as content. But that's what I was saying about the whole social knockback of, there still are people behind the screens having to do this stuff. Even though we see it, our brains are still just interpreting it as if, oh, it's just a scene in a movie. This is just another thing on a TV channel, because that's, when we look at a screen, we sometimes forget about the real lifeness of it. But please do not do anything like that.
No.
I do not
condone. We know that people crave it. People crave attention, and we live in a day and age where the validity of your source doesn't matter. Can you try and get the stuff out
Can
first?
you get the attention of people?
Yeah.
And we really are, what do they call it? The attention economy? Because
That's true. We're holding people's focus.
is really the number one thing in the game, which is why just talking about trends and stuff, people come up and ask for advice. How do you do this? How do you do this? And it's like, you really shouldn't try to follow trends so much as you should try to be genuine, I guess.
Just being genuine. And that comes across whether you're talking to somebody in person or just on camera, just trying to be real with other people.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of times, okay, so for another trend, for example, TikTok, right?
Mhm.
They're all doing the same dances, but there's one song where I think it might be a Busta Rhymes song. I don't know the title or how it goes, but there's some vulgar lyrics in the song. And they would have little baby girls and people's kids dancing to the song, but in the background he's talking about something sexual or something like that in the club, and they'll be doing the dances.
You're talking about.
Mhm.
We're not. I'm not gonna go down that.
Right, we don't have to go all the way down.
because I got a few issues with that as well.
I haven't
But
seen the
those are
trend.
the dangers.
But
Yeah,
that
that's
just
it.
sounds
But-
nuts.
Yeah.
But it's just the fact that I'm just thinking about the trends I have seen the past year or so.
Right.
The pandemic really screwed with people's heads, man.
All we
Because
had was screens.
That's just screens
we
to look at.
are looking
Yeah.
at screens for a year
People
straight.
have forgot how to operate when you're outside around like other human beings,
Yeah.
because just in the past week, do you remember the video of a lady at brunch?
Oh,
I'm
God.
not going to into any details. You see what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
apparently she said that she did that because she wanted to do it for the liberties of others to go viral. And I was like, no, you're not doing this.
That's wrong.
No,
That's
you
wild.
don't.
The only way to defeat these people is to not give them attention. But
That's true.
the way that these products are designed is like,
Mm-hmm.
it makes it so easy for things to be shared, to go
Right.
viral, to be
Right.
saved and stuff like that.
If you do this, right,
Yeah.
sorry to cut you off. If you do X, this
Yeah.
weird thing that's
Yeah.
inappropriate, you will put you at the top.
Yeah.
So-
And it encourages the
In other words,
dysfunction.
the best way to have defeated Donald Trump.
was to ignore him.
Yeah.
Without even getting too political. By what's it? The troll. That's why they're called trolls.
he's a troll to me. He was a meme.
Not even just him, but just literally any of this stuff. If you see somebody doing something crazy, the first thing you shouldn't think is, I'm going to record this.
Yeah, exactly. Just don't-
I'm going to
just
put
don't
this on the
record.
internet.
No.
Even though that is kind of the first thing that we all think is like, this is nuts. Nobody's going to believe this. And then just, start recording. But if we want stuff like this to stop happening, I don't want to shift all of the blame to the companies that, make apps and stuff.
It is the people.
It really is the
using
people that are using it. And there are some things where I say, you know, that the companies themselves can pick up on. But I think also as consumers, we also just have to say, you know, we're drawing a line.
Right, we are.
We're not going to do this. We have to understand that there are some things that are socially acceptable online and other things that are not socially acceptable, you know, online. And the same thing translates to an in-person and you know, what is and what is not acceptable. Because, you know, you can kind of be a little more open and things online because people don't know you. So if you want to get your point across, you kind of have to give a little bit more. But at the same time, YouTube comment sections are terrible. They're like
really.
yeah.
There was a video I had.
Oh,
we talked about that. It was weird. I would. Well, Bible for me. So that Amazon video talking about Amazon and my work experience there. And you know, I guess it was at a time people clicked on it because it's got a catchy name, big company. And a lot of the comments in there were, some of them were good, like, hey, thanks for, you know, just sharing some wisdom and some positivity to help me through this moment in time. Others were like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, or, you know, this guy, I didn't know 𝐓𝐴 𝐷𝐵𝐴
Oh my gosh, I'm so
Smokey
sorry.
Robinson had a YouTube channel. I was like, how does that relate? I mean, and that angle, I mean, I may have resembled Smokey Robinson a little bit, but, you know, I guess it's just, it's
Oh
fun.
man, bro. Some stuff is funny. Some stuff is funny. But at the same time, it's like, oh man, this place is, I know it's a cesspool.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Again, people get rewarded for just being negative or whatever by the attention of other people, you know. And it really is kind of how we all behave outside of the internet. But
That's true.
yeah, people are just crazy.
They
They really are.
Um,
I'm still just thinking about all the stuff that I've seen on the internet, and I'm not gonna demonetize this by even mentioning any of the stuff that I have seen in the past week.
Yeah.
I'm just letting y'all know, we all just continue to remember to just go outside for a little bit.
Right.
Get some fresh air.
Yeah, and I mean, and for content creators, I think ideally you want to make personal experiences with people. I think that's people don't want to do the stuff behind the cameras. They don't want to interact with people, you know, in person. But the internet presents this great opportunity where we don't have to interact with people in person.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, we are better people for it, you know, actually engaging with each other in social settings. And I mean, and unfortunately, there's something that we could do because, you know, the whole,
That's true. Right.
has forced these circumstances. But again, I think the real rewards are going to come when people who learn how to, again, engage with the people behind the screens, the people that are rallying, that are pushing these markets and stuff, the people that are rallying and making these things go viral, because they're really what's doing it. It's not the algorithm. It's not the you know, the market. The people are the market.
Yeah, they are.
I do think that with that, it's very interesting to see where, you know, for the past year, as you mentioned there earlier, only having access to a few people and being forced to, you know, stay in and things like that for everything that was happening, and then coming back out slowly as things begin to go back to some sense of not even normalcy, but just a new way.
To readjust.
Right. And I think with that readjustment, there is now a distance between people more so than there ever was.
Yeah.
Even me walking around, for example, around here, I'm from a place where, Mechanicsville, Virginia, and it's different. Walking down the street, you'd say hi to your neighbors, and people would say hey back to you and stuff like that. Up here, in this region of Virginia, Northern Virginia, close to DC, it is definitely different. You'll say hi to folks, and I'll say it loud enough, but nothing in return. Yeah. And it's hard to tell if that's this area or if that's just this new phone era.
I will say one thing. That's just, before we talk and crap about people from the city, that's not what we're saying.
Oh no, not at all. Not
people outside the city are generally more friendly and more welcoming because
they have to interact more.
Yeah, you know, and plus, you know, up here it's a faster life. And, you know, people aren't worried about just walking around chilling there. We're always trying to go places. You know, we always got to walk outside. We got places to be. Therefore, we're not trying to say hi, you know, we're not trying to worry about that. We're trying to think about what we're trying to accomplish. It's a faster life.
If you really think about it, most people come to the city for the money.
That
And again,
makes
we
sense.
are in
Not here
a
for friends.
Friends and money, In other words,
Oh, what were you gonna say?
Now, obviously, like, you know, people come to cities for the opportunities and and experiences, which is kind of weird because if you're just hitting, you want to meet people, you should have said hi to more people. But I guess it's easy to so many folk that you just like.
Again, people think about the means of getting there and not what it actually. People don't ever stop and. What do you say? Bask in the moment or whatever. You actually have to, like you said, meet people. You can't just. I mean, I guess it works for some people, but I don't know. I couldn't just blindly just go about my day and not be attentive of the other people there. You know, we almost kind of depersonalize people that way. We don't think of like. And I hate to say this, but it is almost kind of like a video game thing. It's kind of like a self-centered thing where it's like, I got to go get this mission done. And, you know, everybody else is just unimportant, non-playable characters.
It's like, that, how I say this, the actions, the things you do, what's the saying I'm trying to think about? The things you do have
consequences.
Yeah, there we go. There are always there we go. There are always consequences for your actions. So therefore, if you do something stupid, like I don't know, drink and drive,
Yeah.
there's consequences for that.
Yeah.
You know, that's all I'll believe it as.
Yeah.
You know? So therefore, you know, there are people around you that are going to be affected by what you do. Like even for example, saying hi to somebody can make somebody's day, or looking at someone in a weird way can definitely affect somebody's day.
Yeah.
And that's true. And with that, by no means there is that everybody in this general area in the world. I've noticed it more here, but by no means there definitely have been some people I have had some great conversations with in this area. And with that, I was wondering if that was caused more so by everything that happened, and if it's just people trying to get used to being social again.
Well, I think that's also just in cities anyways in general, and again, not here specifically, but I think, you know, even if you just think about like Chicago, New York, where there's just a lot of people together, you know, I don't even think that's just a response of being on screens. I think just, again, if you only have so many seconds or moments in a day, you can't divide your attention to, you know, anybody coming along, you know, especially if you are like some business exec or whatever.
That makes sense.
And it's like, now that people are out, some people really want to get out and meet some people, they can get up close with you. But also some folk don't know how to act anymore.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to get at. Some people really just don't know how to act.
I'm still on my head every time I get close to somebody.
I felt that.
6 feet. 6 feet.
I felt that.
6 feet, like it is weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird sometimes not wearing a mask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, now that the rise of TikTok and more social media and more people trying to get content like us that way and more influencers, there are more folk that are willing to do anything it takes to go viral. And I mean literally anything.
Yeah.
I mean, just think about the amount of challenges we have seen in the past year that we're not going to mention because we're trying to make money off of this. Now we were on Patreon.
That's a great way of putting it.
Nah, seriously, but it has been nuts. You know, people have really, I'm going to say it one more time, people have lost their minds. Oh, I'm almost ready to go back inside, but there's some content to create. So we're going to come to all y'all soon.
I mean, we're coming to them now. This is the content.
You gotta come to the real soon, man, because...
But in terms of content creation, let's talk about our process. I mean, we always... our process is always evolving, but the fact of the matter is, you know, as much as we want to say, you know, we can't follow trends and stuff, we should not follow social trends so much as we should try to create them. That is, I think, the ultimate goal of content creators is you want to create social gatherings and stuff around your content every time a new technology or a new feature comes out, because, you know, like you were saying, as every episode gets better and better, you want to also grow in terms of quality, grow in terms of, you know, what you're making, but at the same time, every time a new app comes out, if you're on Twitter, You got to make an Instagram. If you're on Instagram, you got to make a TikTok. If you make a TikTok, you got to make a YouTube. You make, you know, you gotta.
You gotta stay hip. In other words, you gotta stay with the times.
Yeah.
And it can be very tiring. And unless you have a very strong following or a strong brand, like any famous person you could think of, then maybe you can create your own platform, or say which is one platform, and people will flock to you.
Yeah.
But if you're still trying to get famous, you gotta
play the platform, right?
Yeah.
Play the part, play the game.
In other words, play a game. Like, this is not a fun game to play, but since we're here, I guess let's talk about what it's been like. I mean,
for me, and I used to make a lot more videos, motivational videos, things like that, and a lot of those were fun to make. And at a certain point, it got more difficult for me to make them because it started to feel as if I was almost running out of my own experiences that I had lived through to be able to give, a motivation and ideas as well. And then the time and effort that it takes also to make sure that you're keeping that consistent release schedule if you're just doing it as a one-man team. And that's why I think you guys have been doing an excellent job with the process, the look, the brand, and the building.
Thank you.
It's been awesome. It's been awesome because it takes a lot of effort. Anybody out there, and it's worth it, especially if you have the drive and determination. You can do it.
Yeah.
And I think for me, working more so on planning, scheduling will be a help with the release schedule of my content.
Yeah, that's why, again, a lot of the work is behind the camera. Most of the work is behind the camera, and just in terms of like kind of our process, this is a business for me. So every decision I make, I think of it in terms of marketing budget, travel budget, this, that, and the third. Where can I write off of my taxes? All of that. Which also means I have to hit certain deadlines. When you're in school, which we're gonna have to have that conversation about the whole back to school thing. With school, you could maybe turn in the paper late, but if you really want this, you got to hit deadlines. You got to post consistently. They say it takes 6 to 8 months, maybe even a year of consistent quality posting to go for the algorithm to catch sometimes. And the whole time you got to do the metadata. I don't know if you guys ever seen Smart Rapper, that guy on YouTube.
I looked that one up.
I've heard of him so many times, but I never watched him.
To make a long story short, he just talks about he has a really good channel. I think he's a really good kind of branding person. But basically, he just talks about what do you have to do as an artist to kind of play the whole algorithm game, the platform game of what do your videos need to look like? What do your things need to sound like? How can you do this? And it's a real way of kind of just really the step-by-step process of how you put yourself on without the traditional,
team
of people
signing to
a label or something like that. And he basically says a lot of the times the reason why people's songs or videos don't even catch is because they'll put it up, they're not putting the tags in there, they're not doing any of the metadata, they're not making thumbnails and stuff, they're just posting.
And that's the key though, is that again, a lot of my friends, they'll tend to just post up, but only post it without actually trying to get one to kind of like the algorithm trend. It's like here, hoping that someone would catch it. It's like, you got to post it either on a trendy hashtag,
or anything that can really kind of catch.
Which is kind of nice to think about. The algorithm is literally something that people are using as a tool in order to make money.
I mean, but how is that different from any other tool?
See, because most people just only view the internet or social media as something to consume, not a tool that they use to
the other way back.
It's kind of weird.
It is really weird, and they say the best way to kind of interact now, or not interact, but I would guess content create, is when you post, you got to really just post with purpose. So I really understand what you were talking about when you were saying where it's like you do have to draw from a lot of your own life experiences and stuff like that, which is why I also think it's necessary that we just do fun stuff, and hang out and stuff,
to go out,
and making new ones, new experiences
to share with everybody. But at the same time, having to consistently do that will take a lot out of you. It will drain to have to kind of create purpose. But like I was saying earlier, if you want to draw an audience, you have to have value. So if you're gonna make content, you got to do it with purpose, and you got to make it valuable for people to want to be there. Any other practical information you guys want to talk about? Want to give to our audience?
I guess one thing I always tell the audience is really, before you try to create your own content, really try to understand who you are as a person and really what you want to do. In the sense of like understand what kind of audience you want to target, because we can create because we all can just kind of talk about anything, but anything is not going to stick with anybody because it's not tailored for them.
For everybody.
So just kind of like understand who
you're talking to.
It's like if I'm talking to, like for example, we were making stuff that was for 65-year-olds.
It'd be different.
It would be way different.
Totally
different. But now we're just talking about stuff that's more for people.
Similar to us in a way.
Similar to us or anyone who's listening to it. But we understand that the main audience is this age group or this a demographic.
And that's why it takes understanding yourself the best, because even if a brand deal were to come along, you really wouldn't want to take a deal that was like, oh, I don't really use this product.
Nope.
I'll just say it. Your audience is going to feel that you're just selling them something.
I see a lot of that. I mean, is there a moment that's kind of segue? Well, not even segue, really.
Go ahead.
Just even where you see people you see it on any platform, and they'll give them a product to use or say something about, and they'll have the company will give it to many creators out there, right? Because they're pouring more money sometimes into the YouTuber videos instead of a commercial on TV. So they'll send it same product to everybody, same script of you need to hit these points within the video, but you can say it in your likeness in a way that works for you. And they'll all have this video structured in the same way, and they'll all be hitting these same points, and then it feels like, man, this was somebody I followed, and I followed them because I liked what they had to offer genuinely, but it feels like they're just selling to me now. They're just trying to use me to make money in a sense.
And people can sense when they're getting sold to, which is, just to go back to the conversation of interacting with people in real life, a lot of the times that's why people don't like to stop and say hi, is because the people walking down the street thinks, oh, this is another guy who's trying to sell me something.
Target. When I was in Target, and I'm just going in there to kind of relax and have a nice time, and there was a guy, and I almost felt bad because it's usually someone who's trying to sell a cell phone plan. I think.
I don't know.
And, or something that they're trying to sell.
I think I might know.
And it's just another human being out there, another person who's just trying to make ends meet, to make some money. But at that moment in time, it's like, oh man, they come on kind of strong, and I'm not really trying to talk or anything.
I just want to get what I need and get out.
It's like, hey there, brother, how you doing?
It's always
I don't know what's going on, sir, but I'm sorry, sir, I can't do it.
I'm not your brother.
I'm sorry, sir.
No relation.
I got somewhere to be. I mean, that's how it is, and that's why, of course, I would love for us to get sponsored soon. But I'll be honest, like if I can see myself actually using the product or having a use for it, I can't really represent it.
Oh yeah, and again, I think that's how it should be anyways, because again, not only will your audience hear that you don't really care about the product, but you yourself would also feel less obligated to even care. I'm just putting it in here, I hate it anyways.
What's that word? What's the word? Do anything for clout? Or
that's one thing.
Look at that money I make a...
I'm
talking about.
And there are a lot of brands and stuff that I genuinely like. If I don't use it in my everyday, or I'm not even saying my everyday, if I don't use it myself, I certainly wouldn't recommend it to anybody else. But again, that's just one of those things about the actual people on the other side of the camera. You should really try to make an experience with them more than you should try to just sell out, because content creation is still art at the end of the day.
Oh, absolutely.
We're all still artists. So if you just kind of cash out immediately, there is a certain level of selling regardless of whatever you make, whether you want to have a show, a TV show, or a movie or whatever. Every director always struggles with this. We talked about that a lot on the last one about how Warner Brothers really just kind of came in and took over the whole production process for a lot of their movies.
Yeah.
And you know, there is a certain amount of selling you have to do as an artist, but at the same time, you should also want to create something that is worthwhile, valuable, anyways, that justifies being turned into NFT, a podcast, a YouTube video, an Instagram post. If you're just posting something ridiculous for the sake of trying to get some clout,
just
what do you really
look that way?
Yeah.
What do you have? That's good.
And some people do want to go famous just for that trend, sure.
Yeah. Do you want to be known for that?
It depends on what it is. I mean, if it's something real positive, like, hey, there's the, I don't know.
I mean, walking old ladies across the street.
Yeah,
I guess. But then again, do you want to be known as someone that just walks across the street, though?
I mean, I see that. That's a weird example.
No. So sometimes this is where some actors do kind of struggle with the roles that they play, because John Boyega is a great actor, but all folks know him as Finn.
Yeah.
Oh, right, the guy in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or really?
Oh, I can't say it.
No.
Oh, okay.
You can definitely say it. It's just like he keeps messing up John Boyega stuff. I feel like he's gonna make a lot of enemies with a lot of really famous and talented people.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, you know, like I said before, some actors are known for just either one role, and some of them enjoy making money. Like the lady from Progressive, she already made millions of dollars.
Yeah.
But I know personally, I would not be known as a guy representing an insurance company, because it is an insurance company.
Yeah. Right. Well, but even like, you know, walking old ladies across the street isn't even a bad example, because imagine just being known for anything. Like you said, like getting typecast is exactly the same phenomenon, where the public just kind of has this idea of who you are. And, you know, now your reputation or whatever speaks for yourself. So even if you're the person that walks old ladies across the street, it can be anything. And typically, the internet doesn't even reward positive behavior.
It doesn't.
So but even if it is something, but even if it is something that's good, it'll still kind of be turned against you, because somebody else's idea of what that means. Oh, he walks old ladies across the street.
Right.
You know?
That's offensive to them.
Yeah.
For some reason, it doesn't make any sense. You know, and the terminology, I mentioned old ladies. Let me say a better way. The wiser generation.
Yes.
The walking the wise generation across the street.
The golden
years. Right. I feel like the terminology of old ladies may sound a little not how we're bringing it across. So let's say the wise. For that example, walking the wiser generation across the street, right? Because that was deemed as something generally that people would tell you that's a good thing to do, right?
Yeah.
And if you do that, like you mentioned, it's possible that somebody might look at that and say, "Oh, he or she, or they're just doing that because they're trying to get money.
Go viral." And that happens all the time with people donate, like rappers and stuff, give money to like homeless people.
Yeah,
why'd you record that?
Yeah.
Oh, why'd you do that?
Also, on the other side. Why did you record yourself to give money?
That is the point.
The thing is that, you know, there was this, and I'm hoping I'm wrong, but if I remember correctly, wasn't there a YouTuber that was giving away PS5s to homeless people?
Yes.
And I was like, what the hell?
There's a lot of videos like that.
Yeah. But my thing is, what the hell is homeless man going to do with a PS5? You see what I'm saying?
You know,
you see what I'm saying? You know,
but that's how you trick an algorithm, because people will see homeless man, they'll see PS5, they'll see giveaway, and
that's a huge audience of people.
But the same way that you just asked that question, you know, Jordan Peele was talking about his writing process, and you know, when he wrote Get Out and stuff, he was talking about like walking through the movie, through the beats and stuff. The whole time he's wondering, well, what is the audience thinking here? They're gonna think, who is this girl, or what does she want, and stuff like that. And that is how you get an audience. You always want to have them questioning. That's how you. Who's the guy who directed the J.J. Abrams? He has the TED Talk about the mystery box, and he's like, your story should unwind like a mystery box. So it's like you solve one part, and then it's like, you know, the audience has another question. So a really good way to kind of pick people up is, you know, ask a question in their head. If it's, you know, why are you giving out PS5s to a homeless man? Like, people are going to want to click on it to resolve the answer.
Right, exactly. What's they're just out of anger.
And the thing is that, and this is why the saying goes, no publicity is bad publicity. So as stupid as it was, at least in my opinion, stupid to do that. It still got him many clicks, or whoever he is.
Yeah.
But again, at least maybe it's only me, but I did not click on it because I thought it was that dumb. I was like, man, I'm not gonna give him any more views.
Yeah.
That's
I was like,
it comes down to stuff like
I mean,
that.
look, you are. Sorry, I'm not gonna try and rant about that, but even still, it's just that some folk will do that kind of charitable good things because they're for the clout.
Viral. Yeah.
And also at the same time, yeah, they're doing it for the clout, but they are doing charitable stuff. So there's, it's on, you know, there's, how to say this? There's two sides to it. And I see both
silver
arguments.
lining.
Yeah, there we go. This is
Silver Linings Playbook.
Great movie, by the way.
Yeah, it was. Oh yeah, so I think that slides us right into our next topic about, you know, the people that have blue checks.
Certified.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Set it up.
The thing is, they actually have a lot more leeway with their accounts because the thing is, the people who, again, to bring the value to the sites, those are typically the people who are going to get the blue checks, people with notoriety. Because when these fan bases and stuff go online, they're not, sometimes you are just like, you know, let's see what YouTube has for me today, or, you know, let's see what Twitter has for me today. But a lot of the times, or at least, you know, with certain sectors of the internet, they are logging on to see specific people. They're trying to see their content creators. People want to log on YouTube and see, you know, RDC World and people like that. You know, they want to see when their next videos drop. So the creators who are making the content are also driving the traffic in. So blue check marks typically have a little bit more flexibility and stuff, but again, what people are willing to do behind getting those blue check marks, it kind of just murks the whole thing up. But each platform kind of has different means of not only getting certified, but to getting monetized and stuff like that. TikTok has the creator fund, where it's kind of the same thing that like the YouTube partnership, where the creators can get paid for, you know, TikTok utilizing their content and stuff like that. And that just is really a way to incentivize people making on the platform. Because, you know, again, at the end of the day, it's not the algorithm that's making this content, it's people.
It's the people. Whenever there's people, there's power.
Right.
That's not an original. Sorry, I did not make that up. Maybe someone in the audience knows who said that.
Maybe. Oh, check it out. Check it out.
Yeah. But leave us a comment.
If you know,
whenever there's people, there's power.
No one man should have all day.
With the blue checks, in regards to that, it's so what the blue checks are giving, it shows whether they're the ones who are bringing in the people, or what the folks who have made the platform value. So with that, I've seen some blue check marks who are given to people who, maybe me personally, I wouldn't think that they are adding the best of the best to enhance the human race, right? Just to help us just move forward.
Right? I'll be honest, man.
I don't want to say no names, but I've seen some stuff out there that is questionable or that is inappropriate, or this is me personally. Somebody else might look at what I think is not right. Like, okay, for example,
tell you what. I guess, can I help you sum it up? I guess.
Okay, yeah.
So, if your content involves punching someone in the back of the head.
Okay, for that. Okay, right.
This is a very place to start.
I don't care what side you're part of. I'm not going to agree with you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. But okay, I'm going to those people have verified blue checks. But if a platform were to give them that blue check, it just goes to show what is it that they value.
Yeah, it validates that kind of behavior and stuff.
Yeah.
But and again, I'm not going to point out any celebrities specifically, mainly because I don't want their fan bases to lash on me.
Actually, no, the Rodney is not bad. We get to be pissed.
Hey, I'm not one of the people that believes no publicity is bad publicity. I believe in bad publicity. That is a wives' tale.
Do y'all know what happened to on Saddle? Do y'all know what happened to Trick Daddy when he said Beyonce can't sing all that well? So the rapper Trick Daddy said some negative comment about Beyonce. I think he said he didn't think that she could sing all that well. Her fan base gave his restaurant a 1-star average.
Man,
Oh my
gosh!
Millions of people. The thing is that they were just making some up as they go. And
never
all
been
he
there.
said was that he ain't like her music.
And that's right. It's just somebody's opinion.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. But when they have an audience of people who's like, this is the person I love, never met him in their life. But whatever they've created has brought them through a dark time in their life, or they have an attachment to it. They'll do anything just to defend themselves.
Yeah.
Like a cult.
In a way,
In a sense.
That's the magic word, the buzzword around here.
That's the buzzword of the video.
Yeah.
It's a buzzword everywhere now.
But it's almost like, in a weird way, like a reverse cancel culture, because people have this whole, like, I don't know where I fall on cancel culture. I don't even know if it's really real or not. But, once these people kind of are given that green light and they can just kind of, like, do whatever, people still see it as, like, a consequence to have that removed. But, again, like you were saying earlier, I think there should be consequences, If people say, hey, we don't want to support your content or whatever anymore, if people say, hey, we don't want to support your, your TV show or whatever, being in that position is, not gratuity wouldn't be the word, but that's already like a really gracious place to be in, to have a blue check mark, or even to just be in a position like that. So I honestly do think we do need to kind of hold people to a standard.
Yeah.
The only issue is that, again, behind the screens, the people at home can interpret things however they want to. A lot of the times people do not hear the full stories of things, and people don't really do their own research. Yeah,
They'll
no
snippet
research at all.
one clip
One
that
little
is
clip.
questionable out of the whole thing, no context, and just put it up there. Can you believe what
we
they
had
said?
seen it, and I'm like, well, did you see the entire video?
Did you see the whole
Yeah.
thing?
And that's what I'm starting to realize, that whenever I see a small clip, I always ask, okay,
You gotta watch the
Right.
full video, you gotta get the context.
Yeah, just so what's the context behind this? And not all things appear as what they seem.
Yeah.
You gotta do your research. In other words, the internet. I'm sorry, not the internet. Social media is not a valid source of information.
Yeah.
If you told me that there's some information I got is on social media, I'm gonna ask you, okay, did you double check it? Like, you at least fact check that? Because I've heard so many times where people would try to tell me stuff they only saw on Twitter. I'm like, well, is that true or not? And they haven't checked. And then they check online, and it was fake. Go ahead, Grant.
Okay.
I know you're
See,
in the real
with
quick,
that,
man.
oh
I know
man,
you're
that's a
just
great
itching.
point.
Go ahead.
I mean, you go ahead. So after this, on stories on some platform, it'll be a post of a picture, just some picture, right? And there'll be these big bold white words or of a headline, and they'll use a picture, but what the picture represents is not what the fabricated story is talking about at all. And people will say, I heard that aliens are coming back tomorrow, and they saw a picture of a Photoshop, alien spaceship or something like that, and they'll believe that information and go tell everybody as if it's factual.
Yeah.
And they only saw it on a 60-second, story.
And unfortunately, that is why Facebook is in open court right now. Because they do, I don't know if they're generating it. I don't know if they're, not even, I don't believe they're generating it.
You can create a fake article on Facebook and post it on there.
And there's no checks and balances there. And unfortunately, YouTube kind of very similarly rewards clickbait titles and stuff like that. Some people that might watch the first 10-15 seconds of the video and only leave with the information 10-15 seconds in, but that's not enough to get a nuanced understanding of whatever is really happening, and I think we were talking about the whole stories thing. Just that endless vertical scroll, we just kind of forget, like,
It's constant.
Yeah.
That messes me up every single day. I've been trying to better my schedule from waking up, doing work throughout the day, and then getting my time back at the end of the day. And for some reason, I'll have this plan the day prior. And this just takes dedication and just really wanting better for myself. I'll get up and I'll find myself scrolling, and I don't want to even be on the platform.
Yeah.
But I'll just be there, And it's so dangerous. And I realize it every time I'm doing it. But you just got to figure out a way to get away from it, whether it's reading a book or sending things like that. Some days I win and some days I don't.
Yeah.
Well, here's where we also got to ask ourselves, whenever you want to try to change a habit, you got to think. Just think about what you're doing while you're doing that thing.
Yeah.
Like how when people try to quit smoking, I think one of the first things that people always tell people that are trying to quit smoking is stop thinking about what you're doing while you're smoking and why are you smoking. And after a while, some folk will say, or some will probably say, nah, I'm not really doing anything productive. You know, slowly kind of wean themselves off.
Right. In other words, be purposeful.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Be purposeful.
Sometimes you gotta stop and think.
Yeah. The way that these things are designed, they are designed to kind of be your like downtime. Where it's like I'm not doing anything else. Let's just see what's on here. And I
actually, that's exactly what I did this morning. I was like, well, I'm making that.
If you just kind of, have a little bit more purpose, I think you'll see it might be a little bit easier to kind of pull away. But at the same time, this is also the way that we interact with most people. So it's kind of like if you don't interact on social media, then it's like you're not interacting with most people in your community and whatnot.
I do have another point on that. With social media, the bad that can come from it, or what I perceive, what could be bad, is the comparisons that can take place when we all know that it's only a highlight reel for people's really best moments a lot of the times.
Yeah.
And even though I know that usually it's a highlight reel, I'll see someone's best moment that they'll show and share, and for some reason I'll look at it knowing that it's their good moment, and I'll still say, dang, or man, I'm not doing it like they're doing it.
Well,
I really wish I was doing it at their level. But it's
and the thing that comes with that is that I think there's a flip side to that, because for the people that want to make content, that can be a good thing as well, because once you're putting yourself out there, people are not going to always remember the bad stuff. So that can be encouraging to you, is that more people will remember the good things than the bad. So, if you just kind of, walk with confidence, do what you need to get done. The internet, I guess, sometimes can be forgiving, but at the same time, again, the actual effects of that on your own self-esteem can be really challenging. And you do kind of have to find a balance, because I always have to be on social media, because I'm always constantly posting and doing this and prepping stuff and whatnot. And when I actually have stuff to do, it's like I don't even want to be on my phone. I gotta scroll through this. I gotta comment here.
I'm still on mine right now. I'm working on my phone right now. Through social media. Right. Someone's contacted through social media.
Yeah, that happens too. I'm not even exchanging a phone number sometimes. It's just and not to say that is a bad thing, right? Because there's, as you mentioned, a lot of good that comes out of being able to call your grandma. She has a phone. You used to have to send her mail or call her grandpa, or people in your family, friends, family you love.
You can FaceTime and stuff now.
You can do that today, and that is incredible. And just the downside of that is having to have that balance and that self-control to pull away.
And I think, social media is just media. It's the medium of exchange between two people. That's the breakdown, balancing act. But I think it has introduced many new layers of social circles, I guess you would say. You do see a lot of people's highlight reels and stuff like that. And a lot of people often will forget to unfollow people and stuff like that. So you do just constantly see, whatever people are projecting out there. And I do think, again, in real life, you would know, I'll never see this person again, or I'll only see this person in this circumstance. But online, you're constantly getting exposed.
Yes, like that constant exposure. It does have a negative effect, because just think about it. Imagine if we weren't as connected, there was no social media. Your world is basically the world around you.
That's all you do.
But the world we have is the globe. So we see, instead of only hearing about the bad stuff that occurs in your city, or like most in your city, and every now and then you can hear stories from like out of town. But if you're consistently hearing news stories from every single city, from every single country, it gets tiring, like it really does. But and sometimes I feel like, honestly, us as humans are still getting used to this constant exposure to the amount of information that we have access to. Because
we're really not that far away from the times where, you know, we were living in huts and tribes and stuff in the grand scheme of things. You know, 100 years ago, what year is it?
I mean, it's 2021.
20, so
Yeah,
that
I mean,
means
19,
150 years ago.
150 years ago, let's just say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were no phones. There were no flying buses in the sky. You know, we had never been to space before. Our brains are not really equipped to kind of catch up with this, being constantly exposed to the whole world. So, you know, again, we have just came at a breakneck speed from, you know, growing our own food to put on the table and, you know,
so now that you
building
don't
your
have
own
to-
house.
Yeah.
And now we can literally press a button and have food delivered to our thing. You know, we can literally FaceTime somebody in the other side of the planet.
on the other side of the planet.
And knowing that you have whatever you want to see or do or experience at the push of a button in your pocket, you know. I always say that having phones in our pocket it's got to feel like what wizards must feel. And I say this every time because imagine if you just had a magic wand and you can just...
It almost is like that.
It's like you can open doors, and now they're starting to replace. I think Apple's trying to replace your wallet with your phone now.
Yeah.
And certain car companies, electric car companies, are starting to say your phone is your key.
It's your key.
Which is
started outside.
Which I would not recommend most people to use right now because it's still a new technology.
But we have already kind of given all of our control over to our phones.
To our phone, which therefore asks. Well, I guess this probably be the last thing, but I go too far rabbit hole as far as conspiracy theories. But if we're giving the tech companies all this much access to everything, our wallet, our IDs, you know, the car keys, what aspects do we have for ourselves that aren't private anymore, right? You know.
Oh, even that. Everybody knows at this point. Maybe not everybody. Can't speak in generalities, but a lot of people know that they're just listening in on conversations, things like that. So right, this one's.
Right. Listen, it's fine.
They've been listening this whole time. But
you
you know, even that. But yeah, just your phone recording audio, and you see the advertisement pop up. You've been seeing that for a long time now. And as you mentioned there, how much control they have now in the sense of your personal ID, stuff like that, and where that could go in the future. If it's here now, there are some nerves in regards to the possibilities of where it could go.
Yeah, and this is gonna be a fun decade, but in the meantime, let's try to make some money off.
That's all we're trying to do.
Yeah, and I think that brings us to a really good closing point. So again, I want to thank Grant for coming on today.
Yes, thank you, guys.
Miles is fulfilling his service duties to our country right now, but he should be back the next time around. Actually, I think the next time they'll see us here will be on. We can get it in a second.
Okay.
The next time you'll see us will actually be at Disney World, so
that's gonna be good. All that will be all four of us then.
Yeah,
that's gonna be great.
So we'll be back soon. The Victory Click podcast. Click that subscribe button. 1,000 subscribers. Disney World.
We need 1,000.
See you next time.
Peace.
All y'all, okay, now before you curse us out.
Yeah. That was perfect, man. Good run.